surround everyone is all the light was fading like the light's back now.
Hello, welcome to my channel for Evolved Humans. I'm Ms. Day. If you're one of my subscribers, I adore you, and I think that you're all brilliant. I love your comments and I love your emails. If you're new and you have not seen one of these before, I want the highest frequency to put it in front of you when you need it. So if you feel anything from this reading and it resonates, just let yourself have it. Okay, so as soon as I was going to start the reading, I heard that oldies song, Be My Baby. It's that, it's Be My Baby. And you can Google it. It's like a really cute oldie. I think it's been in a lot of movies. I'm not sure what that is coming from, but it feels like I'm talking to I feel like I'm talking to a lot of kind of open and moving feminine right now. And that doesn't mean you have to be a female. That just means that there's like a lot of feminine moving through whoever I'm talking to. And I do think that some of the masculine, I think that you might, if you're feeling stopped up, but you know that there's a lot of emotional stuff bubbling to the surface in a way, it feels like this is an equal kind of like experience happening, but the feminine needs to flow through. It's a pretty strong force right now. And it's like, I feel like for some of you, I don't know if it was becoming apparent, but there's something that really just kind of made this happen. And then there are some of you that have been going through this individual growth thing, and it just keeps happening, that you just keep hitting these weird roadblocks where you have to kind of let more emotional stuff out and you're not really sure what's going on all the time, but you're going forward. So there's a feeling that like whoever I'm talking to, I don't know if you have a self-critical mindset right now because of your circumstances in life or because of like feeling unfulfilled or something, or just not having everything where you want it to be. But it's like almost like a self-judgment that maybe comes out in the form of jokes about yourself. And it's like, I think that's just a part of your nature all the time, where you're just kind of fun with your own humility. But this, like with this one, this time, it feels more like it's a critical type of, there's almost like a weight coming down on you. And I do think that this is, so this is crazy, because the main message I wrote down for a few days now that I knew was going to come into my next reading for a couple of days, I think it's been like 2 days. I wrote down lies are a distraction. And I just keep feeling like everything about this is about closing off to the truth. But it's like, okay, so when I'm picturing, this is not all of you, but I feel like I instantly felt like I'm talking to a group, like you are tough. So whatever you went through, it's like you had to toughen up quickly in your youth, and you kind of took that as a duty and you walked in it. And it's almost like you had to care for others a little too quickly, too. And I'm not sure if that's literally becoming a parent or if it's just like your siblings or nephews, nieces, I don't know. But it feels like I'm just like envisioning like a child who's like almost getting their needs kind of like just looked over because of the needs of the many. And that, it's almost like in that avoidance, there's a seeking right now that you're doing. And it's, so this self-critical thing, and I think not all of you are doing that like in the form of jokes and humility about it thing, but it's like I do feel like there's a downward feeling, like a weight kind of. And for a lot of you, you've done so much inner work, which is why I feel like this feminine's flowing so hard. It's like you've done so much work that it's almost like you are a higher vibration as far as like what you're aware of and your intelligence, because you've learned lessons and stuff. You've matured a lot. I know I'm talking to people who've already started this self journey, and you're aware of weird synchronicities. I think some of you might be getting weirded out by them right now. But okay, so it's like there's this weird feeling that and this is collective. This feels like a lot of us, a lot of you out here. It feels like there's this like downward kind of feeling, and it's because of all of the things that maybe are not lined up the way you want them in your life right now. And maybe they're not, or they didn't go the way that you planned, or they didn't happen among the circumstances you thought they would, on the timeline or something. So it's like, I feel like some of you have hit this spot where you're like, where do I go from here? And then I feel like a lot of you are almost like, okay, this is one that ties in right now. I kept getting this weird sort of like clumsy feeling, like quick clumsy feeling. And I feel like when I'm feeling it, to do with this reading, some of you, for different reasons, I think you're reacting in a physical way, almost like getting clumsy and over, like just a little bit fast. Your body goes a little faster than you really want it to. When someone that you either live with or that you work with is on their way to your physical presence, or if you're on your way to them. Like, I feel like when someone's coming into your space, some of you are reacting and getting like almost like fumbling over your own self, and you were totally fine before they were going to come into your presence again, And for some of you, I feel like there's almost like I don't know if you're living with someone and not talking with them necessarily, but okay. I know some of you are experiencing some of that, but this feels like it could be work also, where it's like you're going into work and you're not really sure why, but as you're actually entering and starting your day, you were fine before then, but it's like clumsy and over the top a little bit, your body is. So another thing that I think some of you have been doing, and that this is not all of you, but some people like just kind of like spurt out random things when they're actually trying to have a normal conversation with someone and they're just like not sure why they're doing that. That's a part of this weird process too. So like, okay. So when it comes to like that joking and that humility and being able to like sort of self-judge, that's kind of a reaction when you close doors around you, because I think a lot of you are wanting to experience a higher frequency because you've done the work, and it's like you are putting off a higher frequency, you're vibing more with the higher frequency. So it's like when those low frequencies come into your space, there's a physical friction now. It's almost like it's an alarm, but it's not like an alarm, like a warning. It's more like you're reacting because your awareness is different now. Your perception of how you experience things and what you are able to experience has changed. It feels like a vibration, like coming from a self-worth place. And so here's the thing, that heavy feeling, I feel like so many of you like want to connect in a clearer way. And you also, okay, a lot of you, I think, are not feeling fulfilled right now. And there is a positive way to go forward in that. And it's like when you feel lower vibrations enter your space after you have done the work and you're vibrating higher, it affects your internal condition, so that you get a reaction like, whoa, that's not welcome here. It's normal. And so it's like this is a new perception level. It's not like a new human. You're still you. And you've got everything that you've had up to this point in your life. So it's like, now this is another piece of that puzzle where it's like, now when I'm reacting in that way to these people that I could easily just be like, hey, how's it going? And then go about, our own stuff. It's not as easy because this is crazy. So the thing I wrote down is lies are a distraction. And this downward feeling, I think it's closing doors. Like, I think that you're blocking their presence. Not all of you, but some of you. I think this like weighed down feeling is almost like because you're blocking them coming in. And in doing that, whenever anything goes down energetically, when it's going down, if you don't catch it, when it's moving energetically, if you don't catch it and take it up, it just goes down. So like you've got to catch this upward wave when the lower wavelengths are like affecting you. You know what I mean? So it's like instead of you blocking out all levels when they're coming into your space, it's like not feeling as good as it could. Because when I say lies are a distraction, this is so crazy because it ties into that like childhood view I have of someone's needs being kind of swept away. And it doesn't feel like intentional. It doesn't feel mean. It just feels like one of those things, you know, we grew up in where everybody grew up in a different time than now, if you're listening to this. So when it comes to your actual connection with yourself, like think about that. If lies from someone else, like even if it's like a white lie, you know, that's what people say. I don't really believe in that. I just believe in a lie. You know, it's either got a nice intention or it doesn't. So like if someone has a nice intention and they say something because they don't want your feelings to be hurt or something, you know, that's everybody's decision in the moment, and it depends on who they're dealing with. And like, but it's, what is it still? It's all the exact same thing. It's a distraction from the truth. If it is a lie, it is to distract from the truth. So it's like if you block because a lower vibration is coming in, it's actually distracting you from yourself, from the high vibes. It's like when you block all out because low is here. It's like some of you, I feel like in this awakening stuff, you're not, it's like they want you to know that you can actually go up. Even when they're coming in, you can seal that level off and go like straight up and just be like, well, I'm not going to communicate on this level anymore. I am too busy to do this. I can think of a polite way to, you know, dodge the situation where we usually interact. It's like, it's almost like they're saying, stop thinking you don't have the power to do this, like on your own. And I know that sounds weird because it's like all about not being alone when I do these readings. It's always saying, you know, we are with you. But this one feels like being too self-critical, making jokes. It's like it's all distracting from what? Like, what is it that needs your attention? So here's another thing. When these low vibrations are coming in, some of you, this is going to feel better because I don't like saying, oh, low vibe people. Same. Like, everybody's low at some point. And everybody's been really low at certain points in life. So it's like a lot of people, I feel like it's your kids that cause this reaction of like clumsiness or over the top, or even like a surge of anger, you know, and you're like not sure why you just got so irritable, but you're not going to say anything because you think it's like your own issue. So a lot of times when you are in an authority figure role, like especially if you're thriving to do that, like I'm talking to a lot of people who are professional and who want to progress in a professional way and in a personal way. It's like progression is your lifestyle. So, and a lot of you, I think that's why you don't feel fulfilled at the moment, because some of you feel kind of like weighed down and stuck. So, okay. So when the kids are coming in and it's like, okay, so this is how I'm reacting to my children. I'm not just going to vibe away from them and I'm not going to close the door off, because a lot of times that's a need. Nature helps itself. You know, what you seek is seeking you. Like I was going to say that in this reading anyway, but it just came into my mind for this too, because it applies. It's like whatever you are in need of, it's not like always about, you know, oh, these people, they like to suck off of people like you when you're a giver. Everybody doesn't have that intention just because they're used to vibrating in a lower area, like emotionally, behaviorally, physically. It's more so like, if you can be open to the high levels when the low levels are around, then you actually can know. The high levels know what they need. So you can be an avenue to get that low level what it needs, instead of blocking it out. This is not for all cases. This is for those of you that you feel like this type of stuff with your children, because you are not responsible for fixing other adults that don't want to fix themselves. Okay, so I know I'm talking to people. Here's another thing. It's almost like I'm talking to people who feel that same sort of like, I am a driven person. I feel like you have ambition inside of you that like makes you want to succeed and like accomplish certain things. And when you hit your own plateau, you're like, this feels null. I don't like it. And so going forward, there's also a type of like detachment. So here's the thing. I feel like there's a lot of, connect this to how like you would avoid your inside self. So it's like, what is it that you're distracting yourself from when you're blocking out, when you're noticing or having to distance yourself from these low vibes? It's like when you're feeling weighed down and you're still alone and nobody's coming in your space or causing it and you're not sure why, it's like that's kind of a moment to recognize that like you need your own attention. Like, don't distract yourself by saying this joke and saying this and, oh, well, I already did that, but oh, well, like there are certain, or even just kind of like dodging your own self to have connections or to continue the norm. It's like some of you, I just feel like they want you to open up and to be like, no, I can receive information all the time. I can receive guidance all the time if I just intercept upward, because all of the information is there all of the time. So it's like, grab it instead of like, oh no, here that comes, let me block it out, because that's kind of our initial reaction. But that's what happens like after you heal. You don't have to block everything, but you do have more control over it. You have a moment to decide, do I want to block this, or is there something I can offer here? Or is there something I can learn from this without interacting with it, you know? Okay. So a lot of you, I feel like this is crazy because it feels like inner and outer type of struggle, and it's not necessarily even moving. It's like there's an internal struggle because of what it is that you need to do and want to do and all the things that you think about all the time and all the things that you feel like you need to get out and all the things you think are wrong in the world. And then there's also a feeling of like that on top of maybe some connections that are just kind of friction only, where it's like a normal, back and forth type of thing. And that could be with a coworker even. But I feel like a lot of you are being told, which is another thing. This is where, okay, so it started with this strong feminine energy flowing through. And I feel like that's what they're trying to tell you is like, when you can't see the light, you must be the light. Like your creation, your creative level, like I feel like I'm talking to creative people. It's so interesting because some of you I feel like are really tough, and so much so that you may have closed off some of your creative self because you didn't even allow yourself to see it. So that's nuts because it ties into the exact same thing, where it's like I'm picturing someone whose needs are kind of being swept away because of the needs of the many. And it's like you can take care of all of the needs that are physical and material, and like even in your family roles, you can do that. But it's like when it comes to your next step and where you're going, it's like you know that there's more that you can offer. And it's so, I do know this is an art thing. This is a music thing. Like I feel like I'm talking to so many people who are like professional and like you have your job and then you like go therapy yourself with like your creative side. Like you get through the day, you get through your life using your creative side. And I feel like a lot of you even have like these little hobbies that you don't even put out anywhere. And that's fine. But going forward, it's like some of you, I feel like have kind of locked that off. And so what it feels like is supposed to be let go. It's the fight. It's like you don't have to fight. It's literally the fight or flight response. I call it the acceptor block. In my head, that works better. That's what I say. Some people say God, some people say spirit, So it's like, I feel like there are some of you who are letting go of almost that battle or need to let go of that fight. It's like if you feel this feeling inside like you're always going to have this type of interaction with this person or this type of interaction in this job, it's like they're telling you, look up. You can change things. You can, actually move the situation and step out of the fight just by embarking in your own self. It's like the truth needs to come through you. And all of the, okay, so here's another thing that I noticed today. This is crazy, but this had to do with this reading, and so I drew a little picture on paper of it so I wouldn't forget. And it was like I looked outside and I saw this huge tree. I just noticed this huge tree and then a whole bunch of little trees just lined up and almost like on each side in front of it. And it was interesting because in that moment I felt like the message was like, what you seek is seeking you. It's sitting right there. Like your future self is already accountable for what you're doing right now. And that's like what the outcome feels like. It feels like, don't let yourself sit in there when you know you want to do something. It's like a lie is a distraction. So if you want to do something and you're not, and you're feeling almost kind of like stuck, they're like saying like, then let your truth move. See what comes of that. Because if you don't look at it, it's just like that same feeling in the beginning where it's like swept away. Like, oh, well, my needs are not as important as the needs of the many. But that's when we lose ourselves. And it's like, I know that I'm talking to people who need to allow themselves to like keep going forward. And the crazy, okay, so it's crazy because this whole thing with the trees, it's like okay, so if everything's going down and then your up thing, catches on and then you go upward, that's great. But it's like in your external life around you, they're almost saying like you just remove the things that don't move with you. Like remove all of these things that are not, all of the distractions. Remove the distractions from the truth and then you'll reach it. It's like when I saw that giant tree, I was thinking that it's like it's an abundance level, but I don't mean a material gain type abundance level. I mean more like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is the energy I wanted to put out during this lifetime. And I feel like this is what I can work with. It's like you've got to feel like a part of your own life instead of kind of being chained to it, or chained to the forward motion. It's like you can be a momentum. You can actually alter the course of it. Okay. And all that means is to focus on removing every distraction, everything that distracts you from your higher level can be let go. It's like any distraction. You know what's crazy? It makes me think of like low level entities even, like when clearing a house or something, because the lowest frequency that you experience when it's like an actual past human, they hide from you when you're going to clear the house. But they're not hiding because this is so crazy, because I drew this today with my tree picture. I drew the earth and the sun and the earth turning away. And it's like when the past loved ones, when a past human that's stuck at a low level experience or self-connection, they're at a low place, it's like some of them, not all of them, some of them they hide. Like the really low ones, they don't want you to see them, but I don't literally mean they don't want you to see them. They don't remember, like they're distracted from the light, okay? They're distracted by their pain, by their guilt, by their loss, by their unawareness. And it's like, and lack of acceptance, things like that. The same things that weigh us down. So it's like when they're the same things that weigh us down. Oh, that's so crazy. When I drew the earth, it was so silly. I was like, I am not going to say this because I don't want to just be Captain Obvious, which is okay. I feel like that's what the last reading was too. Just like obvious stuff that like they're sticking through my mouth. But it's like, when they're distracted from the higher frequency, it's not that they don't want the higher frequency. It's not that they don't love the higher frequency. It's not that they aren't just as significant as those that see the light. It's that they're distracted by it. And it's like when you're in your internal experience, and you're like experiencing your human experience, the weight of that, the guilt, the regret, the loss. Like a lot of you have lost people you did not want to lose. And that's not just by them passing away. And that's how you've grown. And like, I know that's hard. So I know. And it's like, and it is deep. That's another thing in this reading is like deep emotions. You are tough. Whatever you have carried on your own, like you took it. You were like, okay, well, I'm going to carry a lot. I'm going to have to be a tough cookie. And like a thick skin. That might be where some of these people are joking about themselves, you know? And it's not really because it's funny. It's more to distract from what they know. So, okay, that's what it is right there. It's like lies are a distraction. So when you put up the blocks, it's not that you actually want to block. It's just that you're like uncomfortable with what you're experiencing at that level. So it's like when you experience, you know, all of this stuff and it just sits there and it weighs on you, it's like that's when you start to almost feel too much. And then a lot of us get like a paralyzed type of feeling if you're feeling too much and it's weighing you down. So some of you also, I feel like if you feel that feeling in your home, whether you have a roommate or not, like if anybody's going to think you're nuts, whatever, like just do it anyway. Walk through your whole living area that's yours, not theirs. Like don't be a creeper, but walk through your whole area in your home and just have the intention of like I want to take in the higher frequency. Like I want to experience all of the information I can. Like what can I learn from all of this slowness or all of this weight or all of these like low vibe situations? What can I do to remove this distraction? Like ask for help. So that's another thing. This is crazy, but it's like when you recognize what matters to you, this is where a lot of you think that like your creative mode is just a perk, like a luxury of being a human. And it's like they're saying, no, that's actually your soul. Like that's you. It's not just, you're not just here to make, you know, the time pass with that stuff. You're supposed to be sorting it and letting it go through you. And I think a lot of you do. But I do think that some of you in this are like kind of like held up. And I think too, don't ever be afraid to start a new one. Like don't ever be afraid to try something by yourself that's new. Creation loves creation at any level. And it's like if you feel like humans will laugh at you, like your guides won't. They will have fun with you. That's another thing I was thinking before this reading. Oh my gosh. So I had that song in my head, that oldies song, that Be My Baby. I think it's literally called Be My Baby. It is so cute. I think it's been in a lot of movies. That one never comes to mind. It was coming to mind. And I'm like, well, that's weird to give to YouTube. But it makes total sense now. Because there's something missing when you lose the excitement about the connection too. And a lot of times, it's like, so just remember that. When you're feeling weighed down and you don't know what to do next and you're not sure where to go and life is really hitting you and you're not like where you want to be and you know it and you have to keep all the things going and you have to be the example and you have to take care of this and take care of that creature. It's like all of those things distract you from your inner child. And that child gets excited when the high frequencies are watching them and like taking pleasure in watching them. So it's like give yourself permission to just be a kid in yourself. Like give yourself permission to just do the thing. Okay. And I feel like the outcome with this is like, I don't know. I just keep getting this feeling all throughout this that some of you, definitely not all, but some little bit, it's like there's leaving the fight. And that has to do with a relationship in your life that's big. It's like, I don't know if you're about to leave it or if you've already stepped away. And a lot of you, I think, have closed off emotionally, and now you're just kind of going through the motions and you're like, oh crap, where do I go? Where do I go from here? And I think stepping away from the fight is really, really badass. That is the tough part. So like if you're stepping away from the fight and that's your next like goal, is to stop this crazy sinking frictional feeling that you get from this connection, that is something I keep getting thrown at me. It's like if something is low vibe and it's kind of like it's a low experience for you, you're not required to take it and transmute it right then. You're not. They want you to feel good too. So it's like if there's a need, there's always going to be a need. There's never going to be a person that doesn't need that will enter your presence in some way if you're vibrating up, because we take each other with us. So it's like that's another thing. I'm just going to throw this in and then I'm going to be done, because I feel like this is like tying into basically you coming all the way forward with that big tree, which is basically you and your future, which is possible. And it's like when you think that having an amazing life and all of the things like filling you up no matter what you've been through, when you think about that, if you do that, you're not the only one affected by it. Like you're not the only one affected by, opening up and receiving higher frequency stuff. So, but you're also like, it's like they want you to feel that excitement about your own future. And that I just keep wanting to say all day long, I knew I was going to say in the reading for sure that I was going to say that thing, that what you seek is seeking you. It's like all you have to do to get to where you want to go, your truest desire, all you have to do to reach and attain your truest desire is to remove all other distractions. That's it. Okay. And trust that, like, obviously you have to trust that. Otherwise you're just like, getting rid of stuff and don't know why. So do that in your home too. I feel like some of you, I just want to say, like, if you feel like you're surrounded by the same things and it's not making you feel good anymore, times change. Seasons change. Let it go. Like, let it go. And then you don't even have to replace it. You can just like try something else or see what you like. But I feel like that's a really big message, which is just to allow yourself to like do whatever it is that you feel like is not there to distract you or is not distracting you and making you move slower. When you feel like you're pulled down by someone's energy, it's like, if that's not the outcome you want with your energy in that day, you have to find a way. It's like you have to find a way to remove yourself from that distraction if they won't remove themselves, Okay. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that that was helpful. I feel like the Earth and Sun thing just came back because I'm supposed to say it. When all these, like when I told you the low frequency or whatever, that hides or shies away from the light, from the higher frequency, it's like if the higher frequency, okay, so when the earth turns away from, when the earth is not, the part of the earth that is not getting direct, the sun, when you can't see it, it's still there. Like when you turn your back on the light, when past humans, when they turn their back on the light because they're distracted from it, the light's still there and you still need it. You still need it. So it's like, that is just how it goes in nature. You don't have to put faith in any entity at all if you don't want to. You can literally just know that as far as nature and science go, there is no us without that. So it's like, no matter what distracts you, it's not going anywhere. You're not like in any race with anything other than your own future, Okay. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that this helps. I hope that this really helps someone, because this just felt like a really intense It just feels personal. So, okay. I hope that you subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comments if this resonates and how, because I love those and I love the emails about it. And also allow for the notification bell if you like to know when the videos are uploaded. Okay. And then if you want a personal reading, you can email me. The description box for my channel has my email address in it. So you can just send me an email and let me know that you want a reading, and we can schedule that. I do like those too. I'm going to do those as long as humanly possible because they make me happy and I learn a lot from doing that too. So, okay, have a really awesome night, and I will see you in the next reading.